evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Pigskin. My name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth. Great crew tonight. No, I wouldn't expect a whole lot less from this show. Anyways, but before I do the regular introductions, I want to let everybody know that Inside the Pigskin is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of Inside the Pigskin can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? No problem. Participate in the chat room, or another way to do it is send your topic ideas to South Florida Tribune at gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, give me a call at 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Our website's www.southfloridatribune.com, Twitter/X at Tribune South. Candy Ebling is behind the scenes, and my book is so close to reality, I can taste it. Lessons from the Microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. As I said before, folks, okay, we have a loaded show tonight, and I want to make sure that everybody knows it. So, first of all, we're going to lead off with what our title turned out to be, and that's this. The Kansas City Chiefs are the first team to win a game in 4 different countries: the United States, Mexico, United Kingdom, and Germany. All right, Mr. Yu, what's your answer to that?
It's a very weird record, man. Most of the games are played in the U.S. anyway, so it's kind of like a weird distinction. But, I mean, the Chiefs are going to draw in numbers, man. They got a passionate fan base, and they've been winning games, man. They got a superstar quarterback, so doesn't matter where they go, they're going to draw. But it's kind of a weird record, but hey, there's no trophy for it, but it's cool.
I like your reaction to that. Hey, come on.
Yeah, I don't know what to
I remember one thing. My philosophy on these shows is educate, inform, and entertain. I'd like to think that tidbits like that fall in to what we consider the criteria, right?
Yeah. Play in 2 more countries. Impress me. Come on. Play in Africa and Australia, too.
I got news for you. Canada would be easy, so that would make it at least 1.
Oh, yeah. That'd be easy.
Yeah. You don't have to go very far there. You don't even need a bye week for that. All right, George Icorn, 4 countries.
I think it's a great distinction. I love it. These games are important to the NFL. The NFL International, what they're trying to do with Europe, especially with London and now in Germany. That's a great team to have to come over there to play. Obviously, the German people responded in great force, and more exposure for the NFL. I love it. And yeah, it is unique. I mean, it is very unique. I mean, there's probably a limited chance in our lifetime of any other team accomplishing that feat, because the games are pretty much, rotated. There's so many teams in the league now, but no, that's great. And you like you said, Mr. Yu, that's a very popular team, a popular quarterback, and fans want to see them in other countries around the world. The Chiefs, I mean, yeah.
Okay, Mel, what are your thoughts? And by the way, I haven't been across the Big Pond, although I've traveled a lot. That's on my bucket list, at least to get across the Big Pond 1 time. All right, Mel.
The NFL is trying to grow the game. Obviously, they're trying to grow the market. They have a huge market here. They were trying to grow that fan base elsewhere. It's smart to take the Chiefs because they are one of the premier teams, premier clubs in the NFL that have a huge fan base, along with the Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, some other clubs. Playing in other countries is cool for the players too. You get an opportunity to go on somebody else's dime and experience a different culture, and I think that's pretty cool. I had the opportunity to play in Japan. I had the opportunity to play in Germany twice. I played in Berlin. I played in Frankfurt, and it was a great experience. I played in Berlin right when the wall came down, and you could look across and you could see what East Germany looked like, and it was entirely different. It looked like Cuba over there. They all had the same kind of little old cars and everything. All the cars were white. Got a piece of the wall. So it was, you look at, it was Germany, or was it West Germany back then? You got an opportunity to look at that and how, look more like the United States. Like you look at East Germany, it was like black and white. West Germany, it was like color. That's kind of how I looked at it. When when you went through Checkpoint Charlie and you looked at one side, it kind of looked one way and the other side. But I think it gives you an opportunity to experience some different cultures. And obviously, for the NFL, it's important for them because, with the television rights, they're trying to promote this game globally, just like they do soccer over there. They try to promote that game globally. We know that soccer or their football is more popular than our football. Right. So I think it's very, very smart for them to try to grow the game, try to get some other people interested. And also, you get an opportunity to get other players too, to get an influx of players, right? Like the NBA has done, where, you see we have quite a few European players playing now that, that play, that are very, very good, whereas when I first started watching the NBA, there were very few, if any. So that's part of growing the game and making a global game. We're in a global economy now. So it makes all the sense in the world to do that.
Okay, Bo?
Yeah, I mean, from the growth standpoint, obviously it's great. As far as the record designation itself, doesn't mean a whole lot because I think 4 teams have played in Mexico, right? So it's pretty easy to be one of the only ones if no one else has a chance. So, but yeah, I mean, from a growth of the game standpoint, yeah, it's awesome. And obviously it makes a ton of sense to have a team like KC go over there. And although, I mean, for whatever reason, they really love sending the Jags. So
well, the Jags, their fan base is kind of iffy,
Yeah.
Hey, calm down. Calm down.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's kind of so fan. They're talking about moving the Jags over to London permanently.
Yeah,
ain't nobody talking about that. Only people that don't actually follow the sport talking about that, or somebody who needs.
We talk about it a lot on the show.
Hey, Bo, you're segueing to Travis Holmes.
Yeah.
Come on, you're
Come on, man.
Broadcaster that knows a segue when I see
you guys know you guys are barely hanging on to Jacksonville.
That's something that people say. We need some filler. Right, let's talk about the Jazz moving to London. Come on, man. You don't even believe that. Like, we know how taxes work. That's the start there. I'm an accounting guy. I have an accounting degree. That's where my head's at. That ain't never happening. But to actually have a team, I can have a billion reasons for it, but whatever. At the end of all of this, Bo made a great point. Mista Yu made a great point, and even Mel, you all kind of covered a lot of the bases. I mean, to one point, yes, if no other teams have the opportunities to play in some of these countries or has had the opportunity just yet, well, then they obviously don't have the chance to win, in Germany or, in Mexico. But the Jags have played a lot over in England because that was what their original arrangement was. Originally, I guess for the NFL, they just want the arrangement that they made back in 2022 just basically said that every team was going to have an opportunity to play at least once every 8 years, which, the Jags have obviously been playing in London like every year because at one time, the fan base, was obviously struggling because they had one winning season out of a 12-year time frame. I mean, you can't really blame fans for that. I ain't going to see a movie if 1 out of 10 of them bust. Come on, man. I'm sorry. If most of them bust and they have like one hit, no. I'm gonna watch that. That's wait till that comes out on DVD or Blu-ray, bro. That's how that goes. So I understand it.
Not even streaming it, just getting it on disc.
Right.
Hey, Bo, you know what?
The San Antonio Jaguars. That
sounds pretty good. Look at this guy. By the way, Darcy Mabel, thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate you chiming in today.
How upset would you be the Jaguars?
I have
in San Antonio?
People in somebody's head. Hold on, and you are definitely in Travis's head.
Man.
Thanks for being on here, Darcy. We appreciate you very much.
But no,
that was great. I love that exchange between you two. I look for these kinds of stuff. And by the way, I should also point out that who wouldn't want to see Patrick Mahomes no matter wherever he's at, right? I mean, think he's a draw, really? I mean, come on.
Yeah. But they haven't even played a crazy amount of games internationally. That's the worst part about it. The Jaguars, yes, were one of the top teams, to play games internationally, and I think we had like 6 or 8, something like that. I was looking at it a second ago when you were talking about it.
Is that it? But you guys played more than that over there.
Well, that's just it. Like, I don't even know when this arrangement started, if I'm going to keep it 100. But it wasn't like it was. Actually, there we go. I'm looking at it as we're talking. 8 games, 8 games in London, right? So it's not even. And they were all in London. It's not like we're going to Germany and then all these other places. It's literally all in that one country. Whereas you got Buffalo Bills, who are next in line, and they've only played 7. All right, cool. And none of these teams are the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are just the Chiefs because the Chiefs win, man. And they don't care if they win in your backyard. They don't care if they win at home. They don't care if they win in California. All you need is 4 attempts when you just a team that wins 90% of your games. Hey, so that's the Pat Mahomes effect.
All right. Well, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go out there and segue to another Chiefs storyline because this one's really good. I really like this. Darcy, we'll have to check out our schedule and get back to you on next Wednesday. Hi, Sandy. I'll be darned. Thanks for being on. She's the one person who, well, I'm going to tell you, Sandy's a one-of-a-kind woman. And if you ever want a haircut in Metro Detroit and Sandy's doing it, she's the one person that, to me, is a work of art. Thanks, Sandy. I miss your haircuts. More importantly, I miss you as well. So thanks for showing up tonight.
Aww.
All right. Let me tell you, she's a great woman. My mother and her work together. I've never seen she used to cut my hair. I mean, she was the best. I'm telling you.
Where's the heart emoji on StreamYard?
What's that?
Where's the heart emoji on StreamYard? I want to press it several times.
You're asking a guy like me to look for a heart.
Is that okay?
The real brains of the family isn't on here. It's just me doing this. She's on Chicks and Salsa.
I'm just kidding, Scott. Keep going.
No. I love this. This is good stuff. We got some good people chiming in. I love it,
the heart
man.
emoji would have been good right there when you were talking about Sandy being a work of art and stuff.
She's the greatest. That's all I'm going to tell you.
It's okay.
She's like the sister I never had before. But Sandy's the best. Her haircuts are great. And she worked with my late mother. All good stuff. All right. Back onto the Kansas City Chiefs. Since we got on the Chiefs theme, why don't we stay with it? Kansas City Chiefs deliberately chose to play the Miami Dolphins in Germany, to avoid Tyreek Hill getting booed by the fans. He played 6 seasons there before a contract dispute led to a trade with the Miami Dolphins. All right, so here, what do you think? What do you think? This is a pretty cool gesture by the Chiefs, right?
I didn't think the teams had any influence.
I'm going to leave this to the expert in the room because this doesn't make sense to me. This is not adding up. 1 and 1 is like 4 right now for me. Yeah, a contract dispute, which makes the fans go, okay, this is the cheater, the fastest guy in the league, right? We need him. So the fans go look at the organization if they don't pay him, right?
Right.
So the fans are looking out for Tyreek Hill's best interests. They traded him to Miami.
Right.
Now they want to make sure he don't get booed from a team he doesn't play for anymore. It sounds ridiculous. Am I hearing the same thing you guys are hearing, or is it just me?
No, I'm with you.
I'm gonna wait my turn. I got it.
Mr. Yu, everybody gets their turn.
Don't play for him anymore.
And here's the deal, Mr. Yu. There are no wrong answers here, so don't worry about it. Hakuna Matata. No worries. Lion King. Okay.
I'm talking to experts in the room. Experts, help me understand how that makes sense. Why would the Chiefs do that for him? Based on what?
Maybe there's a soft spot somewhere along the lines of that organization.
Scotty, come on, man.
No, I'm trying to justify the whole thing. And maybe I'm doing a poor job of doing it.
No, it sounds ridiculous.
Is
there another reason why they would want to play in Germany? Is there another reason why they want to? Is there like a financial advantage to play in Germany instead of at KC? Is it financially related, perhaps? It's not for Tyreek Hill. They make a big move across the pond or whatever for Tyreek Hill. There's no way that happened.
I don't want to skip any. I don't want to skip anybody else because I want everybody to have their opportunity. But it's hard not to jump on the opportunity to counter what you just stated. But again, I'm going to wait my turn because I'm passionately. I feel 110% the opposite. I think they probably did everything they could to make sure they didn't have that on their field for very specific reasons. So,
all right. Let me
go ahead, gentlemen.
I'm sorry, Travis. What I'm going to do is I didn't have this as part of a topic, but anytime somebody in the chat room comes up with it, we will address it if that's the case. So I'll tell you what. You know what, Mr. Yu, are you done with Tyreek Hill?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure. Just trying to make sure.
He is every bit as much as Casey.
Okay. That's funny. Well, hey, you know what? Nobody says that these topics don't have any comedic value because evidently this one does. So. All right, George, give me your take on Tyreek.
No, I don't think that's what was done purposely like that. I don't agree with that. I mean, for a long time we were hearing in Detroit that the Lions were going to be the opponent overseas because the Lions are right at that cusp where they have to go over there. Like you said, Mel, there's a rotation and teams have to go over there. What is it, every 8 years or 6 years or something? So to pick your opponent is a big stretch. I think the league controls that more than any team controls it. There might be a limited amount of input by the club, but it's very limited, So it seems a little far fetched for me, Scott. I don't believe that it was set up that way.
All right, well, it's okay. Like I said, not everything we have here is going to be not, hard nosed, black and white. There might be some gray areas, and this might be one of those topics for in which they are. So, again, though, when I see some out there that intrigues me, I'm naturally going to bring it on here because I like to get different opinions. All right, Mel, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I'm with Mr. Yu and George. I mean, I think that's the league. They make these schedules kind of far out in advance, and if anybody was going to get booed, I mean, Tyreek didn't ask to leave. He would have gladly stayed if they would have paid him.
Right.
He got traded. He didn't leave via free agency or anything like that. He was traded. So the team decided to part company with him. If anybody was going to get booed, it would have been the Chiefs based on what their offense has looked like lately. The lack of explosive plays that they've had the last 2 years since he's been gone, and then the lack of continuity with the offense this year, with them allowing Eric Bieniemy to leave. The offense doesn't look the same as it did before. I mean, hell, let's just throw it to Kelsey 15 times a game or 20 times a game, and nobody else catches the ball. They have no explosive plays anymore. So if anybody if anybody were going to get booed, it'd probably be the Chiefs for allowing him to leave. I think he would have got a standing ovation. Especially, I think everybody appreciates what he's doing, what he's done down there in Miami, and what he's doing down there this year. I mean, it's outstanding.
Okay, Bo, now you can have your take on it now that we laughed our way through this topic.
It's so ridiculous to think that they moved a game overseas so that a guy doesn't get his feelings hurt. That's not a real thing. The NFL doesn't care. If you've ever watched anything with the NFL, they don't care about players. Safety, mental health, until they get sued, they don't care. I get where the narrative starts, right? Because they don't want Tyreek running into the end zone doing this to their own fans. But yeah, I mean, there's no way that's how that went down. Or if it did, that is the craziest way to pick an overseas game.
That's fair enough. No, I like that. Okay, Travis, now you can say what you want to say. Then I want to get to Dan Davis's topic, and I'm intrigued by it. I don't know how much time we'll spend on it because I plan to talk about it in more detail. But since Dan was nice enough to bring it up, I'm going to address that before the next topic. Go ahead, Travis.
So the NBC football, the Good Morning America staff, they actually talked about this in pretty good detail. And I know there's a billion football games on. So for anyone who didn't catch it, the way that the international series works out is there are certain games that are automatically deleted from the pool of games that's available. As your resident Jacksonville Jaguars expert, we're good at this one, this international game thing. So basically, they automatically delete certain divisional games, divisional matchups. There are certain games if they don't play in your city in a certain time frame, let's say it's 10 years, whatever it may be. Like in this case, it was the Chicago Bears game that was in that pool of games. They automatically just say, hey, no, we're going to allow that game to be played because they don't get to play in your field very often. Kind of one of those things. So the Kansas City was basically just left with 2 games at that point when they took a look at their whole schedule, and it ended up being the Dolphins or the Lions. And that was kind of what it was. It was just one of those 2 teams. And you see how the Lions are also playing really good this year too. So in hindsight, it's like they were going to lose a good game either way. But those were just the games that they had available because of kind of the way that the teams do get the options. There's some give and take within the international series because teams are agreeing not just it's one of their home games. Well, specifically for the home team, I should say. And the Chiefs were. And again, the Jaguars have kind of gone through that same thing. They went through it a little bit with the Atlanta Falcons versus the Buffalo Bills games over in London this year. And Actually, I think we talked about it that week when I said the Jaguars chose to play the Indianapolis Colts after the bye. That's kind of what I was hinting at. It's kind of one of these international game rules. But also, it's Tyreek. If you want to even make another point about that, the Tyreek Hill thing, you guys are forgetting, man. These Kansas City fans are fans. Like, they're fans, they're fanatic. The team is always right, even when the team wrong. Even when they wrong is all outdoors and the GM is terrible and they make bad decisions and whatever else. And hey, man, the team is always right when you're a fan and you're a fanatic and just saying crazy stuff. Like, yes, the team traded them away, but then when they get out there, they're gonna have all them signs talking about Tyreek and his abusive history that we cannot forget happened, and all the embarrassment, and they can easily avoid that by getting this game overseas. Oh yeah, I'll take that too.
Okay, I want to address another topic that I didn't have on my list, but you know what? I'm going to bring it up right now, and I'm going to lead with this first. Okay, I didn't incorporate this one yet, but I'm going to provide some opinions. You guys get an opportunity. Here's my thought about the whole science stealing situation, University of Michigan. I believe that, in fairness to all sides, that I want to see due process play out first before I formulate an opinion. I realize that they always say innocent till proven guilty. I realize there's a lot of information that are heading toward what we believe could be true, but I just believe in the two words due process and go from there. Whatever punishments the Big Ten lays on them, we'll know. And I will lead off with this topic then. But again, I'll reiterate two words, due process. And I think those are the words that the University of Michigan president is asking. Okay, just give us due process. All right, go ahead, Mr. Yu.
As a diehard Michigan Wolverines fan, I've been screaming about this for days, weeks, fighting on Twitter. I'm exhausted, man. all I say is this. This kind of feels like baseball to me. So after I say this, I'm going to be quiet and let the experts talk. I'm dead serious here on this one. It's like baseball. It feels like everybody's already doing this stuff already in some way, shape, or form. But because it's Michigan, because it's Harbaugh, and there's some things that are been hinted about, some political stuff, some stuff within the organization that they don't like, all type of little things going on. It's just a big mess. And then the Big Ten got their hand in it and taking advice from or evidence from people. This is just like, let it play out. Like you said, if it's something if it's legit and you got all the meat you need, go ahead and do what you got to do. But if you ain't got it, don't try to manufacture it. That's all.
That's good enough. And again,
go ahead, experts.
I'm more time on this. Go ahead. I'll spend more time on it a later date, but since it's in the news, it's a top story. I don't mind addressing it a little. All right, George, give me a brief take on this.
Well, I agree that due process has to run its course, but these so-called Big Ten phone conversations that have been going on with opposing coaches and ADs and trying to put the pressure on the Big Ten commissioner to make a decision, I think is sad. There's a report that just came out in the last 24 hours that a former player at another Big Ten football program said it was his job to steal signs against Michigan last year. And so now this whole thing is getting, it could really blow up in all the faces of not only Michigan, but the other schools as well. So, yeah, I agree, Scott and Mr. Wu. They have to have all the facts out before they can make this judgment. And to go ahead and suspend Harbaugh for 1 or 2 games this year and then wait for the ruling to come out, I don't see it. I think you should just wait and see how this comes out, and everybody's got their fair time to explain the situation. I don't know if he's guilty or not. We don't know.
Okay, Mel.
Yeah, I think this is much to do with nothing, to be honest with you. They're talking about whether it was a run or pass. They're stealing signs to determine whether or not it was a run or pass. You still got to stop the play. You still got to stop it, whatever the play is. The other thing is offensive linemen tip whether it's run or pass. If you look at games, they'll tip it. So even in tipping it, you still have to stop the play. So I mean, my thing is, and then this is not a court of law, innocent until proven guilty. This is not a court of law. This is football. Okay,
Right.
so and it's not like baseball when you're stealing. Like Dion said, if you know a curveball is coming, you know to sit back and wait on it. If you know a fastball is coming, then you know to jump on it. This hey, it's a run or it's a pass. You don't know who's running it. You don't. You got to stop the play. I mean, there's 11 guys out there. You still got to stop the play. So I think they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Hey, you got caught. Hey, Michigan, don't do that no more. All right, okay, and let's keep moving. I think they're making a bigger deal out of it when it's necessary. They talk about it all the time. Everybody's trying to steal signs. Get rid of the signs. I don't understand what the signs are with Elvis, and then they have somebody else's face. What is that? I'm trying to say, what kind of plays are they calling it? They have 4 poster boards, guys holding up Elvis, another guy holding up Marilyn Monroe, and holding. What are they doing? I mean, I thought it was just for show, just because they're on TV. I have no idea. What does that mean? I mean, somebody has to tell me what that means. I don't have an idea. So I think it's much to do with nothing, man. Just slap them on the wrist. They got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and let's keep it moving, man. Let's talk about something else. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way. I mean, Jim Harbaugh seems to be a target for everything nowadays anyways, but go ahead, Bo, pick up on that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's more of a witch hunt than anything, because I mean, to your point, you gotta stop the play, whether you know or not. I mean, you can tell when you got linemen white knuckling, they're probably coming at you. If they're leaning off, they're backing off. It's going to be pass protection. So I mean, it's not like you need a sign to know what's happening. Like if you're watching the game, especially as a player, you have an idea what's coming. But it did just get more convoluted. So that's always fun. So a document was just sent to the Big Ten from Michigan, showing Purdue, Ohio State, and Rutgers were sharing Wolverine signs amongst each other. So
they said that's commonplace. They have buddies on other programs. Hey, what'd you guys learn? And they'll share that information.
Absolutely. It's called scouting. Like, I don't even know why we're talking about this. Like, you're literally supposed to go look at what the other team does and figure out how to beat it. But the biggest thing is you still have to beat it. They're not recording practice. They're not the Patriots, okay? Like, they were going and stealing signs. You still have to stop the play.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's a lot of talk about something that shouldn't be a big deal. Interestingly, it could be a problem as far as going into the playoff, right? Because if the NCAA wants to do something about Harbaugh, obviously that can affect the team. I did find it very interesting that the playoff committee said that's an NCAA problem. So they're not going to do anything about it as far as the team's concerned going into the playoff. Basically, they're just like, yeah, I don't know. We'll let the NCAA do whatever they're going to do, but it doesn't affect us as far as the playoff. So that was interesting.
You know what? I think one of your people, Bo. Okay, I think football politics should have its own. Let's stay out of our real football talk. Sorry, guys. It's really sorry about it. You want to react to that, Bo?
Yeah. I mean, this is my mom, actually. So football politics is necessary because it directly affects the outcome of a season. I mean, when you're looking at a Michigan who is ranked 3rd currently, I think. If the NCAA suspends their ability to go to a bowl game because of it, all of a sudden a national championship is no longer an option. So there are some huge implications as far as what happens out of this. And so that's why we talk about it.
It's big money. It's big money that we're talking about.
Huge.
You don't make it to the Final Four. That's big money. Then not only the school's going to lose out, but also the conference.
Yep.
Okay, Travis.
This is the year. I've been saying this everywhere I get a chance. This is the year. I said, it doesn't happen this year. I don't think it's going to happen. They're going to lose 20 to 25 guys going to the draft. Seriously. I don't mean like in ever. I mean, it's going to be a long time.
The chance at a natty.
Well,
they had a chance last
20 to 25 guys.
Huh? No, he just means that it's their last year because they're going to lose so many students coming into this next season. So it's kind of make it happen.
You got to reload, man. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You reload.
25 guys. Mel?
Yeah, you reload with a new coach.
Alabama does it. Georgia does it.
Well. Basically, this whole story is just breaking news. Breaking news: offensive lineman gets caught, trying to hold a defensive end. Or breaking news: the defensive back holds and the penalty is not called for 2 years and it's called later. Like this is all this is. This is, hey man, in the words of, well, in my head, this is the words of Bill Belichick. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Hey, and everybody's doing it, and we know everyone's doing it. And this is not like one of those things where you're saying, hey, officer, everyone's speeding. No, this is, hey, officer, we know everybody's speeding, and we talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody knows everybody else is doing it, and you slapping this one team on the wrist, and it's not even a real rule. Like, I'm sorry, but what are we doing here? This is not actually what rule am I breaking? Officer, what law am I breaking? Oh, you won't like how I talk to you? I'm sorry. Like, whatever. But you know what I mean?
Cocaine
Like,
in the trunk that he's worried about.
that's a fair point. But yeah, you get what I'm saying though. Like, at the end of the day, if it's not Harbaugh, this ain't a conversation. If this is Rutgers, if this is, I don't know, I mean UCF, like whatever. If
Illinois.
This is any other random team, this is not a conversation. They're not even talking about suspensions. They're just gonna be like, cut it out, guys, and that's it. It's national news.
Rutgers. That's because if it's Rutgers,
Well,
they're like, you might make a bowl game if you steal everyone's signs.
Yeah, but to your point, Bo, the fact that other teams were sharing the information amongst themselves, I won't lie to you. I know you said that's not a big thing. I think that's the biggest part of this story, frankly. Like, just to me, I have not had experience talking to people on other teams about, sharing signals, like basically making a system with multiple squads to take down one team who's just maybe at the top. That's a little different, bro. That's collusion. Like, that's something else. So that's the biggest piece for me that makes this a little different. I'm like, if you're talking about your own coaching staff or your own students, whatever, et cetera, working together to try to figure out if it's run and pass, hey man, that's football. I'm trying to gain an edge everywhere I can find an edge. That's work. That's why we watch tape, whatever. But you talking about me texting other teams to ask them, hey, did you find any signals? Let's find out if you found any common traits with these. No, that's different, bro.
So I mean, here's the thing though, right? Like I had friends. I was a corner, right? And I had friends that played corner, and for a different team, right? And we would talk back and forth, be like, hey, when you go up against this guy, I've noticed this. Because it's your buddy and you want them to win until you play each other. Like, so
that's interesting. Y'all was out there cheating. Okay.
No, like it's not though. It's scouting, right? Because they'd share that same stuff with you, right? They'd be like, oh man, when this guy walks up, if he's gonna fake inside and bounce it out, he'll be really weighted on that left foot. Right? Like he'll be leaning almost over the line to break out because he wants that stutter step inside to bust back out. He wants it as exaggerated as possible. And so we would share stuff like that because it helps your game. And,
I can get down with it. I can get down with that, especially when you're working out in the off season and stuff like that. Yeah. Like that makes sense. That type of thing happened, but we weren't sharing sick. Again, I'm going to keep it 100. I think everyone's cheating. That's just like, that's no different than baseball. I think all those guys are on steroids. I don't know why certain people got to have asterisks. So like, whatever, man. Let's keep that thing moving. If you play at a time when no black people play, you get an asterisk just like they get an asterisk for steroids. I don't care. Everybody just get the records. Whatever you get. But in this, it's the same way. Hey, man, if everybody's cheating, cool. Don't slap one team on the wrist and not slap the other team on the wrist. But again, stealing signals and then working with another team to do it, and then like a text message thread, that just feels like a little much. That's all. It feels a little too organized.
Travis, sometimes you have some of the most interesting takes. It's unreal. So, I to even mention asterisks and baseball, I don't even think I've ever heard you mention baseball in anything we've talked about. But boy,
hey, but I played for a bit.
You know what, Travis? That's good. You definitely fit the entertainment part of this show tonight by coming up with that. And the best part about me, I get to watch all you guys talk about it anyway. I won't lose my voice on this next show because you guys are doing a good job helping me save it. So all right. So I don't really worry about losing it before this night is over with. So all right, let's go ahead and talk about something that did happen today. The LA Rams signing Carson Wentz 30, waiving Brett Rippon. Wentz's fourth team in 4 years. It's insurance for Matthew Stafford. Well, obviously, he suffered a UCLA sprain in his right thumb. I'm wondering if this is another reclamation project, Baker Mayfield / Sean McVay. I actually got to tell you, I really like this move. If for no other reason, Carson Wentz could not have landed in a better spot than with Sean McVay, just like Baker Mayfield did, who, by the way, got employed by the Bucs. Okay, Mr. Yu.
But they calling the move a surprise. I guess the only reason why it would be called that because they expecting staff to come in and play week 11 versus Seattle. They're going to be on a bye week 10. So I guess they just have Wentz back there as a backup, another QB in the room, I guess. I forgot the other guy's name that was the backup for Stafford. I actually like that guy. I'm trying to figure out what happened to him. Who?
Brent Ripon?
No, not Brett Ripon. No, not him.
Him?
The other guy that was
Well, Stetson Bennett.
He started a couple of times too.
Stetson Bennett was.
No, he's talking about last year. I think you're talking about the guy who played last year.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want to look away and try to find it myself, but anyway, I liked him a lot. So I'm surprised that they didn't look to him. But I guess maybe he's not on the team anymore. But I guess it's a surprise move. I guess. I mean, last time we saw Wentz was in February 2022. He played 8 games,
right?
Threw about 11 touchdowns and 9 picks. Got beat out by Heineke, got the starting job back, got beat out by Sam Howell week 18 when it really didn't matter, then they were already out of contention.
Right.
That's the only thing that's a nice little fact, and you mentioned this, Scott, is the McVay Gruden connection. That's kind of something that they're saying is going to help Wentz out with the transition. He'll be coming from the Gruden school like McVay did. So I don't know if this is a pet project or this guy's going to be something they're looking toward in the future when Stafford inevitably, steps away. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but it's interesting, to say the least.
All right, you know what? I'm going to put Dan Davis on. I really like this comment. I really, really do. Wentz signing with the Rams is interesting to me. Years ago, the Rams could have drafted Wentz, but went with Jared Goff instead. Maybe this could be a Wentz reclamation project with the Rams. I'm rooting for the guy. You know what, Dan? As far as I'm concerned, that comment's a bullseye, period. Okay. George?
Well, clearly the Rams are hurting. Stafford's been banged up so much this year and last year, and I don't blame them for trying to sign somebody else, but he hasn't played, like you said, since Washington, February of 22 is when they released him out of his contract. So, I mean, of course he's staying in shape, and of course he's throwing on the side and trying to be ready for a call. So they didn't have much of a choice. I mean, Ripon didn't do what they wanted him to do. 46% he completed. Terrible statistics from the game the other day. So they had to look somewhere. I don't blame the Rams for trying. Whether he works out or not, I don't know. But I know one thing, Matt Stafford's a hell of a competitor, and he's going to be in there and play if he can.
All right, well, just Mr. Yu told me that when he was drawing a blank, John Wolford is the guy that you were referring to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you brought it up. I don't like to have anybody come on the show where they're drawing a blank and they don't get it on live air. So it's okay. Thanks for bringing that up and bringing that to my attention. So that'll make you feel a little bit better. Okay, with that said, Mel, go ahead.
I mean, let's be honest. What you try to do is you try to, again, like we talked about last week when Bill Parcells says, what you're trying to do is, you're trying to assimilate talent. You're trying to acquire talent. It's a talent acquisition business. And what you want to do is get the best 53 men that you can possibly have on your roster. That's the way that you go out there and you're able to compete on a week in and week out basis. Now, let's be honest. I mean, Brett Ripon, he wasn't a big time prospect. I don't remember how he went to the Broncos, if I'm not mistaken, whether he was drafted or as a free agent or whatever the case may have been. But let's be honest, man. He's been riding his uncle's coattail, and that's no problem. I don't have any problem with that. I rode my dad's coattail. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But he's not a NFL starting quarterback. He's like a developmental guy still. Carson Wentz has won some games. Remember, I mean, there's a time where before he got hurt, he was the odds-on favorite to win the NFL MVP before he got hurt the year that they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, it just something happened with Carson. He just hasn't been able to regain that form that he had when he was the leading guy to get the leading candidate for MVP. But he's only 30 years old. Matthew Stafford, we know, is much older. He gets banged up. Carson Wentz gets banged up a little bit too. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the best 53 guys out there that are going to give you the best chance to win. They feel that this guy is an upgrade over who they had. Right. And, I can't really necessarily argue with him. This guy has won a lot of games in the NFL, whereas Brett Rippon has not won that many games in the NFL. I mean, he is who he is. We know who Carson Wentz is by now. A stopgap guy, maybe he can come in there and win a couple ball games for you to keep things going while Matthew Stafford heals up. But I think the Rams are not throwing in the towel on this season. I think that's what they're showing. They're not throwing in the towel. That they have guys there that they owe it to them to put their best foot forward and go out there and try to win games. And you got guys out there like Aaron Donald and guys who are older guys. Yeah, they won a Super Bowl, but I mean, they're still out there busting their behind. And if you all of a sudden you decide you want to throw in the towel and you're starting some free agent quarterback, what are you saying to the rest of the team? So I think it's a good move on their part.
And just an FYI, Rippon was an undrafted free agent with the Broncos. So
that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's okay. So with that said, okay, we'll turn it over to Bo.
Yeah, so I mean, it obviously Wentz is a much higher talent than Rippon is. And as much as Wentz gets hate, it was one of the reasons why I thought maybe the Jets would have went and got him, because outside of the Washington situation, which nobody was going to be successful there, that team was terrible, right? So, I mean, his numbers being bad isn't really an indictment on his ability, because if you look the year before, he actually had a really good year with the Colts, right? He was I think he threw for roughly 3,500 yards. He had 27 touchdowns and 7 picks. Like, if you can have a 2-to-1 touchdown ratio and 3,500 yards out of your quarterback, you're going to win a lot of games. So I don't hate this pickup, especially because it's a really cheap pickup. And because you have Stafford continuously getting hurt at this point, there's a good chance that he doesn't come back for the last year of that contract. And now you at least have a guy in the room that can carry the torch if Stafford isn't able to come back or wants to retire at the end of the season.
Okay, Travis.
Hey man, these are all the best points that I could ever make. Right, like if this is anything longer than just this year, they have another guy in the room who's an adult who can carry the offense at minimum, and it's not just like crash and burn immediately. This was Ripken's first year with the Rams. He had already had his 3 seasons with the Broncos, and he had his game and a half audition that did not go well. And I think that's putting it lightly. I mean, the man averaged 47% completion rate. That's not great. No touchdowns, 1 pick. 2 sacks. Like this is not a good situation by no means. And again, that's what the blowout loss against both Dallas and Green Bay. That's a rough one. I think they kind of knew that they couldn't pretend that this season was not off the rails, without getting another adult in the room, just being able to keep the offense on schedule, just be able to run the ball control, just the basics of football. So they did that. And again, it's more likely than not, I haven't seen the contract details yet, but it's more likely than not going to be a cheaper contract, something again to give them a few different options. And Godspeed to Ripken on the waiver wire. But the Chiefs, the Rams, goodness gracious, they are 3rd in their conference right now, with no real chance realistically of they're behind San Francisco and Seattle, who are both 5-3, and they're 3-6. Like they're not aiming to be the best team in history. They're hoping and praying to one day be able to set 500. This is that type of quarterback who may be able to at least get you there again and not just fumble the game away, not just throw interceptions. That's wild. Just manage this thing, follow the offense, and kind of keep this ball rolling.
Okay, now just program note. We're not going to be going about what team needs to be fixed, although my plan is still to go with the game of the week. But I've got something probably close to it anyways, and that's this, okay? How much worse can things get for the New York Giants? They're 2-7. But here's the thing. I'm going to go with an 8-game comparison from 2022 to now 2023. Okay. In 2022, the Giants were 6-2. This year, they're 2-6, and now quarterback Daniel Jones is out for the year with a torn ACL. So, Mr. Hughes, your thoughts about the Giants' unfortunate turn of fortunes?
This is a good time to defer.
Okay.
Is this just the beat up on Mr.
I don't
Hughes
get
segment?
apoplectic on this show for the second time today. Can I just
That's
defer to
okay.
George?
I have zero problem with anybody deferring. If they want to talk about it,
George,
I'm totally
by all
fine.
means, sir, please go ahead, sir. So I don't
Well,
have to.
I mean, it's been a crazy and terrible turn of events if you're a Giants fan. I mean, let's face it, Scott, like you said, I mean, almost a complete opposite record a year ago. And now with the quarterback shelved, oh my gosh. I mean, between them and the Jets, what a terrible fall it's been for football in the Big Apple. But that being said, I mean, when things are not going right, they have the wheels start coming off, as they say. So whether it's offense, defense, special teams, or whatever, they've made a lot of mistakes, glaring mistakes, and the losses have just been piling up. And so this is like, unfortunately, the cream on the cake of falling apart when you lose your quarterback for this year. So I don't know what to say. I mean, they in the offseason, they tinkered with the roster a little bit, but obviously the moves they made were not good. And let's face it, they're all done. I mean, this season's over for them. It really is sad, especially like I said, if you're Giants backer.
Okay, Darcy, I know you would like to know who we would put in the NFC playoffs at the midway point. Here's my advice to you, Darcy. Send me that in a messenger format, and what I'll do is I'll incorporate it into next topic lineup. I know we have a very busy agenda. I think what you have is really good, but I want to address it when we even bring Coach Bonamego on as well. He'll be on assignment with me tomorrow, but thanks for bringing it up. Just send me a message and we'll address it. Okay. Mel, go ahead.
Yeah, isn't it ironic? That's the guy they chose to pay, right? And he gets hurt just dropping back. His knee buckles on him. And look at the quarterbacks that we've had. Aaron Rodgers, Achilles, Kirk Cousins, Achilles, and now you got Daniel Jones, ACL. Matthew Stafford's been out. Deshaun Watson has been out. What other quarterbacks have been out? These running backs are still in there taking a beating and still going. They're taking a licking and keeping on ticking. But these are the guys that nobody wanted to pay, but they're still there. Jimmy Garoppolo.
There's another one, yeah.
Do I need to go on? I mean, and they didn't want to pay. They didn't want to pay Josh Jacobs, but he's the horse that pulls the buggy. Saquon, he's the horse that pulls the buggy. He makes everything go. So we'll see. I guarantee they're going to be relying heavy on the running game now that Daniel Jones is gone. Tyrod Taylor's on injured reserve, hurt some ribs. I mean, come on now. Come on now. Who gets more hurt? It's the quarterbacks. And they take a fraction of the hits. But as far as the Giants are concerned, I mean, they this is what they asked for when they paid him that type of money. This is what they asked for. So they knew who he was. He wasn't the guy that they paid. They were hoping he would grow into that contract, but he didn't quite do it. Saquon was a little banged up at the beginning of the year, and you saw he could not carry that football team. He is who he is, and he is who he's shown himself to be. He's been there 5 years now. I think it is. This is his fifth year or his sixth year. He's been there a while now. He is who he is. I mean, you can't make him out to be somebody else other than who he is. This is who he's been all along. Even when he was in college, he wasn't the guy. He was just, another guy. That's it.
Okay, Bo, go ahead.
I feel bad for Mr. Yu. All the topics are just beating up on his teams. But I mean, honestly, probably the way he's been getting hit, the way he's been getting hit, the way that offensive line has been letting him get lit up. This injury is probably the best thing that happened to him, because at the end of the day, he probably would have had a much worse injury if he kept getting hit the way that he has been. Because he was out a couple weeks ago with a neck injury. At least this time it's a leg, because the last thing you want to do is have pile on another neck injury. So, yeah, I mean, if there was a silver lining, it's probably that. Because I mean, just this last week they gave up another 8 sacks. I mean, they are on an incredible pace for getting quarterbacks hurt.
Okay, Travis, and don't worry, Mr. Yu, we'll get to a topic you won't have to defer to next. I promise. Don't worry, it'll be the
See you
game
next
of the week. It'll be the game of the week, man. I know you won't defer on that one, but all right, go ahead, Travis.
I mean, again, Daniel Jones is one of those people that you guys always hear me say it, legend at the bank. Like, he is in the best possible situation he could want to be. I mean, obviously, who wants to be hurt? No one wants to be hurt, but the man had $81 million in guarantees at signing. He gonna get every dime of that money no matter what. And so I'm sure he is just fine with this arrangement for the moment being. Like, a lot of us get hurt, but a lot of us don't get hurt with $81 million in the bank. Like, or if it ain't in the bank, it's guaranteed in the bank, essentially. So I'm thinking he is fine. But this is the curse of smelling your own stuff and not flushing. Not spraying, just kind of just sticking with it. And that is the problem from my personal perspective of the 2023 Giants. It's the same issue that the 2018 Jacksonville Jaguars had after going to the AFC Championship game with Blake Bortles, and then they extended him. And I thought this was an apt comparison when the Giants gave him that money. I was like, I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. This looks way too similar. I'm like, this is not your guy, so don't pay him like your guy. And I know you're limited on options, and I can obviously say that because they won 9 games last year, and everybody looked at that end result saying they won 9 games, forgetting that they won 8 of those games by 1 score. And you know how that parity thing in the NFL works. It's always going to flip the next season. That's historic. That's just what it does. That's just, I don't know, math. It kind of just balances eventually. That parity is going to come. So yeah, they end up being 8-4-1 in 1-score games. And it kind of flipped, like you said. They were 6-2, and now they're 2-6. And Daniel Jones played in 5 of those games, so you can't really blame it on Tyrod either, because Tyrod actually seemed to be an upgrade at one point or another over Daniel Jones. So yeah, man, this was a problem that they should have seen coming, because us basic, regular, non-football NFL coaches and GMs whose houses might be on the line kind of saw it. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Go ahead.
That was it. That's a bad decision. They made it.
The only thing I'll say about this whole thing is Brian Daboll didn't take a dumb pill. This guy knows how to coach. Right now, if he's had any luck this year, it's no luck. But I'm rooting for Brian Daboll to turn it around, and I'm sure if the New York media should probably cut him a little slack, because you want to keep going out there and hiring a new coach. So New York media, cut the guy some slack. But I really feel for you, Brian Daboll. Let's go back to the chat room with Dan Davis, and let's get his perspectives on things. Speaking of injuries, the Lions had a few this year, but good news for them. It was reported earlier that all 53 men on their roster were available at today's practice. The bye week came at the right time for them heading into a tough road game versus Chargers this Sunday. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. So with that said, we're going to go to the game of the week, and I really have a responsibility to go to Mr. Yu, even if he picks the same one I do, but I really feel bad for him, so he does. No problem. Go ahead. What is it?
I don't know how I'm going to talk. I feel so sad.
You shouldn't. Come on.
But anyway, the game of the week for me, this is the Bucks and the Texans. Whenever I think that, you know what, football just getting on my nerves and I'm just kind of just tired and take a break from it, games like this restore my love for the sport. This game was incredible. Bo's guy, Baker Mayfield, he actually did good.
My guy.
Down to the last minute, 13, he did fantastic. I mean, Stroud was a man out there. I mean, I can't recall a time before this, a precedent before this, but where a rookie performed like this in crucial minutes. I don't mean throughout the whole game. He had 470 yards, five scores, something like that. Baker came down the field, go route to Mike Evans, 53 yards. I think it was about a minute and 13, a minute and 3 seconds left, something like that. No, this is a rookie now in a spot where you know what, you're down, you have to get a touchdown. I think we're down by 5, something like that. You got to get a touchdown. Field goal can't work. Stroud, I forgot how fast they got down the field, probably like in 3 or 4 plays. It was a thing of beauty. It wasn't beginner's luck, man. This guy had poise in the pocket. Got a team full of rookies, 3rd and 4th stringers from other teams. Them boys galvanized, man. It was incredible. My boy Dalton Schultz, my old fantasy football guy, he's helped me out, won me so many weeks, man. Made a case for a big bag next year. Made Levante David look like a little baby. Just shoved Levante David. It was beautiful. I love it. But after that go route to Evans, he had about 6 seconds left on the clock. This man threw a touchdown to Tank Dell. I jumped out of my seat. Houston fan at all. I was like, couldn't believe it. It was awesome. Game of the week, hands down. What you got, baby? Top that.
That was good. Hey, I'm glad you feel good about it. It's okay. CJ Stroud, I'll tell you, this guy conceivably.
I got someone on the show because
I like this CJ Stroud because you know what? He's definitely my front runner for rookie of the year. All right, George, what's your game of the week?
Easy.
Philadelphia 28, Dallas 23.
Okay.
Cowboys again. Oh my God, how many opportunities you're going to get in a game like that to try to knock off Philly, and you blew it. You just had a litany of mistakes there, especially that closing pass at the end there. Oh my God, you pass it to a guy, and what was he at the 5 or the 7 yard line, and he's not even near the end zone yet. But what can I say? Bad clock, bad time management was bad, coaching was bad. I think Dak played a really good game for the most part, and again, the Cowboys come up short. America's team no more, I don't believe, but there's still a lot of hope. Obviously, it's a long season, so they're still going to be in the hunt. But that was a game that they had, and they just blew it. And I give Philly credit, though; they came away with the W.
Okay, Mel.
Yeah, I mean the Houston game was an exciting game. Houston Tampa Bay was an exciting game, but I kind of like Minnesota and Atlanta. What Josh Dobbs did, he just came in. I mean, didn't even get any first team reps, didn't get any reps, and next thing you know, he's out there having to orchestrate a comeback and ended up winning the ball game. I think that's a great story. It's great for him. He's played on 4 or 5 teams in the last 2 years. He's never. I mean, he had a starting job, then was demoted. Kirk Cousins goes down. Next thing you know, he's on a plane out to Minnesota and just figured. He was the emergency quarterback. He wasn't expected to play, and guy goes down, and next thing you know, he's out there and he's wheeling and dealing and doing what he has to do to lead that team to a victory. I think it's probably demoralizing for Falcons and Falcon fans, but I really don't care about that. I'm not a Falcon fan, even though I live here in Georgia.
But all you do is live.
I love to see the Falcon fans suffer, just like those Bulldog fans.
Gosh, that's funny.
But yeah, I think that was my game of the week.
All right, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead of you, Bo, because I'm really outnumbered with this thing here. It was my game of the week too, obviously, and you know what? We have 3 of us that feel that way. My game of the week, obviously, Dan Davis been a roll all night. Let him stay on a roll. I'll give you the explanation. In fact, Bo, my voice is getting a little hoarse, so why don't you go ahead and read the whole thing?
Oh, okay. My game of the week was the Vikings versus Falcons. Jaron Hall went down with an injury, and comes newly acquired Josh Dobbs. That guy hadn't even practiced 1 snap. Caveat to that, he got there on Wednesday. How does he not take a snap in practice before a game on Sunday? But, whatever. Or learned his wide receiver names, went on to lead the team to a comeback win from behind. That was just awesome, in my opinion. Unheard of. Loved it.
There you go. Well, you know what? I'll go back to what I said. It was my game of the week. Mel's. All right, Bo, that leaves you next.
Yeah, so mine's a little bit depressing because it was an absolute clinic against my Seahawks. But my game of the week is that Ravens team. Man, they have really turned it on. When you look at their battle against the Hawks and against the Lions, man, they are that team. And when you look at the records of the Eagles and, you know, these other KC, other top flight teams, they have losses against bad teams. And the Ravens are really beating up on good teams. So I like this game. I mean, I did not like this game. Let's be honest, but I like what I'm seeing out of this Ravens squad. They look for real.
Don't worry, George and I can empathize with you because we took the beating first and you got it next. So,
Yeah.
so
for
I mean,
sure.
all you had was Lamar Jackson creating havoc for everybody. And to make matters even worse in this last game, even Odell Beckham Jr. got a touchdown and he got it from the back of a quarterback. So go figure. All right, Travis, we'll take us home and then we'll let everybody know where they can get hold. What a show we've had tonight. Enjoy the participation on all levels. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, my game of the week was the Texans victory over the Bucks, because then that was just a wild finish. So, Mista Yu, great call out on that one. And my second game of the week, would have been a lot like you guys, the Vikings Falcons, just because again, you have a quarterback who's basically off the plane. I don't know these guys' names. Basically, the coach has to get him on the sideline before he goes on the field and just say, "Hey, these are our top 5 protection calls," because he doesn't even know the protections. What? That's just wild. Like, all of that was wild. Oh, and Mr. You just said it. You just said it in the chat. The fact that they had what is it? Daryl Ogowale, former Atlanta Falcon, former Jacksonville Jaguar, out there Tampa Bay Buccaneers, out there kicking kickoffs and a game leading field goal, like a field goal to take the lead. Like, I've never seen that in my life, and I'm talking like I've been seeing that in college. I haven't seen that in the NFL, and a regular skill player coming onto the field to kick a field goal to take the lead, like in some crucial minutes, and making it. This is not like the Chad Johnson extra point. This is like some crunch time stuff. And the dude kicked it through the uprights and then kicked the ball off into the end zone twice. Incredible. Okay, come on, that was dope. Like, it really was. It was cool to watch for a team that I should not like at all, because I'm again a Jaguars fan. But yes, just to be a little different, I'll probably talk about the Chiefs' victory over the Dolphins, because the Dolphins on that last series, if anybody saw that, they just crapped the bed.
Travis, I've never seen a guy dodge a question like you. I said game of the week, and you put the word S and snuck in 3.
Hey man, I'm last in line. They got a chance to talk about all the best stuff. So I'm gonna dibble and dabble in all these things.
Hey, Travis, let me give you some information about this show, okay, buddy? This is football. This isn't baseball. You threw us 3 curveballs, man. And then you even talked about baseball tonight.
Hey, didn't I tell you, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying?
That's right.
Wait. He takes 2 shows off. I'm going to get it all back on one show. Boy, did he ever, in a big way. My goodness. Good stuff, Travis.
All right.
Oh, I love it, man. I like a guy like you that takes my question about game and then decides to put the word S on it and decides to throw 3. All right, we got to put it on. Good stuff, though, Travis. Love it, man. So, all right, we got to go back to Dan Davis. We're going to roll a little bit longer because the chat room is forcing us to do it, and that's a great problem to have. C.J. Stroud, 470 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. This has to be some sort of rookie record. It is a rookie record. I think C.J. Stroud could break that, saying OSU doesn't produce NFL quarterbacks. Awesome by C.J. Stroud. You know, Dan, you followed into that GMTA situation, buddy. Great minds think alike. But you've been on a great roll tonight, Dan Davis. Thanks. Keep up the good work. Enjoy having you participate. All right. Well, you know what? This time of the broadcast where everybody has a chance to let everybody know how they get a hold of them. But what a show we've had tonight, guys. Think about it. Incredible participation in the chat room. I like the dialogue. I like the fact that Travis discovered the word baseball tonight, because all he did was throw curveballs at me right and left anywhere. And that's okay. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's okay. But anyways, all right, Mr. Yu, I know we had to defer, but you participated when it mattered anyways. We just know not to really make you feel bad with New York Giants topics too bad, so we get one less defer.
That was for you, Scott. That wasn't for me. Just so you know.
I appreciate that.
You heard me on Monday. I got no problem screaming, man. Every Monday morning, I'm going off. So
Mr. Yu,
I'm trying to protect you, man. Respect your show. Give you honor where it's due. That was about you. It wasn't about me. I can go off.
All I'll say is because you have the right name, you the man. Okay. So with that said, why don't you let everybody know how they can get a hold of you?
Absolutely. At They Call Me Mr. Yu on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, YouTube. You can find us every Monday morning at 9 a.m. EST with me and Bo over there, my partner, 9 a.m. EST on They Call Me Mr. Yu, the podcast, every Monday morning.
Okay, George, go ahead.
Yeah, you can reach me at Yahoo at gicorn@yahoo.com. I write for the South Florida Tribune under the Motor City Tribune banner. And at the end of my column, we always have a link to my book, which is called Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. It is still available. And also, you can see me on Inside the Pigskin and the Sports Exchange and all kinds of great shows, 108 Stitches Baseball. I have a fun time here with all you guys. Thanks for having a great show tonight, everybody.
Okay, Mel.
Reach me on all the social media at Melfar Jr., whichever social media you follow, and follow what we have going on for the youth at melfar.org.
All right, Bo.
Yeah, so obviously you can find me right here on Tuesday nights and, of course, Monday morning with my man, Mr. Yu. And then my shows on Thursday and Friday, you can either find it on my channel, which is here on YouTube at Football-Talk, or on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network on Roku TV.
All right, before we turn over to Travis, love to get these comments up. It means we did our job, right? Okay. Really, Feather Freebird, really great show. A lot of fun.
Hey,
Thanks,
Mom.
guys. There you go. Mama says we did a good job. I like that. And Dan Davis, one of my favorites out here, who's loved the show, interesting content on there. I will be tuning in more often. Great job, everyone. Well, you know what, Dan? I was going to say you were the unofficial seventh co-host. Wait, you were on a roll. Okay, so with that said, all right, let's go ahead and turn it over to Travis.
Yep, and you can find me on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes. You can find me here every Tuesday at 8 p.m., 8:15 p.m. On Inside the Pigskin. That's every week. You can find me on, if you're looking for Jacksonville Jaguars content, you can find me on our podcast, the Duval Dive is the Jaguars podcast. That's on Fridays at 11 a.m. That's on the PSF football, the Pro Sports Football Fans Football app, and also on YouTube. And you can find my writings for covering the Jacksonville Jaguars through A7BN Sports for BigCatCountry.com, the SB Nation Jacksonville Jaguars site. And as always, I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, we enjoy having you. Well, one of your most comedic nights I've ever seen because you actually brought up baseball. That's okay. I should point out that Inside the Pigskin is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of Inside the Pigskin can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? No problem. We had a lot of good ones in the chat room tonight. Keep it going. We appreciate every one of them. I don't mind extending shows if that's what it warrants, and I'll make sure every chat comment gets up there. That's my priority amongst fitting in with you guys. You guys are my thoroughbreds anyways. Send topic ideas, South Florida Tribune at gmail.com. Want to advertise cost efficiently, call me at 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Our website is www.southfloridatribune.com. Twitter at Tribune South. Candy Ebling is behind the scenes. And, of course, my book should be due on Amazon any day now, called Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. Great show tonight. Don't really have to toot our horn. All you have to do is just look at the involvement in more ways than one. And we can all feel proud of what we're doing, but we always, all in our mind, we always look to get better. So with that said, on behalf of my dynamite crew, Mr. Yu, George Icorn, Mel Farr, Bo Crouch, Football Talk with Bo, and Travis D. Holmes, although we should say Travis B. Holmes tonight. The B stands for baseball. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Inside. I couldn't help it. I just couldn't help it. Travis, you set me up all night with all the things you're doing. So, hey, you can never have enough nicknames. I'm not Chris Berman, but boy, I could certainly make out to try to match his guy. So, thank you very much for joining us. Have yourself a great weekend. Candy Ebling and I will be headed up to Tallahassee, Florida, where the Miami Hurricanes take on the Florida State Seminoles. So looking forward to going to Doak Campbell Stadium my first time. And to me, I before I let everybody go here, I really enjoy working with the Miami Hurricanes as well as a lot of my distribution partners as well. But the Canes, to me, I don't know what kind of a game it's going to be, but I know it'll be a memorable experience seeing a game up at our state capitals. So good night, everybody, and we will catch you next Tuesday night at 8:15. By the way, we'll be moving the time, not 8 o'clock. So just want to let everybody know that ahead of time. Good night, everybody.
All right, I got to run. My